Hello, and welcome to the second art activity on the YouTube channel. Today we are drawing flowers, and I'm doing a setup where I'm not in front of the camera as much because you need to see the flowers, which is really important. So you'll need a pen and a pencil, some paper. A couple of sheets of paper would be good, a background for your flowers, a tiny little jar. So I'm just going to lift this up to show you, just a tiny little jar with some buds buds and some petals and some of the flowers. So we are going to start drawing the flowers now. Before we start drawing the flowers, we're just going to mark out in some light circles where the flowers are, where the buds are. And we'll mark out a kind of semicircle where the jar is. And then we're going to draw. Now this is a bit more challenging than I normally do. So I'm watching through the camera, drawing the petals of the rose. And I do have the flowers in front of me so I can follow that as well. Some of you may have heard of a technique called continuous line, which is essentially what I'm doing just now, is where you're drawing continuously on the paper and you're getting the shapes. It's really good for drawing flowers actually, especially with pencil, because then you can come away from that and you can erase anything before you apply pen or paint. The pencil that I'm using is a HB pencil, but you can use a B or a 2B or a 4B pencil. So I've done a few runs of this, practice runs of this, but it's still quite complicated to draw through a camera. So you can try that at home if you want. You will require a camera stand in order to do that. So there we go. So we've got some pencil marks there, and as you can see, it does represent the flowers that we've got. So I'm a big fan, and it would be great if you're a big fan of the good old biro pen. Biro pens are really, really good for adding in detail and adding in definition. So we can do that with a biro pen. You can use a fine liner. To do this with. Madge, honey. Darling, down. Okay, so I'm going to show you a fine liner. This is a Uniball pen. You can get them quite cheaply from most shops, most stationers. And the difference between this and a biro pen is that it's much more freehand and thinner and finer. So that gives you some definition of the flowers. And we are now halfway into this exercise. So I'm going to show you how to apply some chalk pastel to the flowers, and I'm doing this rather loosely on purpose because we're going to add some paint to this. And a tiny bit of black. I'm going to come back to the green, and the same as before, just grab your jar and your paintbrush. A medium to small size paintbrush would be good to use, or if you're feeling confident with a small fine line brush, there we go. There's a tinier one here. So what we're going to do is we're going to bring this into focus, and we're going to demonstrate it with a small brush. And the good thing about chalk pastels is that you can add them a little bit more when they're wet, when there's water there. So we've got some more definition in the petals. And we're going to use this one just basically to give it a wash. And in watercolour it's the same thing. You would give it a watercolour wash. So I've been chatting with the art session students on a Friday about the beauty of watercolour and chalk pastels, and it's been a real joy to explore things with them, and we're gonna keep it going, and we're kind of exploring different things together, which is lovely. So when you come to this part with the jar, just be a little bit careful here because it's black and you don't want it to run into any of the other colours. So we're going to take the orange pastel again, and I'm doing this obviously faster because of the short video, but please take your time with this because it's important to get detail, and it's important to capture things accurately as well. So it's also really nice just to have a little bit of a play with the colours. Because these could be finished drawings and paintings, or they could equally be ones that you use as studies. So we're not going to add too much paint to this part, we're just going to add some tiny little fragments. In fact, that's probably a little bit too much water there, but we'll come back and tidy that up. And also, as you can probably see, the more water you apply, the more dilution you get with the flowers. But equally so, the drier the brush and the drier the surface area, you get some nice textural areas as well. Okay, so voila, we have a finished sketch in pen, pencil, and chalk pastel and water. So I hope that was really useful to you. It is challenging to do it through a camera, but it is possible. And I will leave you to explore more of your own floral and botanical drawings. And we'll see you on the next video.